Download this code from codegive.com, link in the description below. Did you know var adds to the window object in JavaScript? A deep dive. This tutorial delves into a fundamental, and sometimes surprising, aspect of JavaScript, how the var keyword, when used to declare variables in the global scope, directly adds those variables as properties to the window object, or global object in node.js. We'll explore the implications, nuances, and best practices surrounding this behavior. Understanding scope, the foundation. Before we dive into the window-object connection, it's crucial to understand the concept of scope in JavaScript. Scope determines the accessibility and visibility of variables within your code. JavaScript primarily uses two types of scope. Global scope. Variables declared outside any function or block have global scope. They can be accessed and modified from anywhere in your script. Function scope, with var variables declared inside a function using var are scoped to that function. They are only accessible within the function itself. Variables declared without var inside a function, in sloppy mode, can leak into the global scope. Block scope, with let and const introduced in ES6, ECMAScript 2015, let and const declare variables that are scoped to the block they are defined in, example inside an if statement, for loop, or any code enclosed in curly braces. The window object, global scope in browsers. In web browsers, the window object represents the browser window itself. It's the top-level object in the browser's JavaScript environment and acts as the global scope container. Anything declared in the global scope becomes a property of the window object. var and the window object, the connection. The core point of this tutorial is that when you declare a variable using the var keyword in the global scope, it essentially becomes a property of the window object. Example 1, simple global var declaration. Explanation *. 1 var my global variable equals hello, world, declares a variable my global variable in the global scope. 2 because it's declared in the global scope using var, JavaScript automatically adds my global variable as a property of the window object. 3 console.log, window.myGlobalVariable, demonstrates that you can access this variable via window.myGlobalVariable. 4 window.myGlobalVariable equals goodbye, world, shows that you can also modify the variable through the window object. The two names, myGlobalVariable and window.myGlobalVariable, are effectively aliases for the same underlying variable. Example 2, global function declaration, also a property of window. Functions declared in the global scope also become properties of the window object. Example 3, within a function, using var. Inside a function, var creates a function scoped variable. It does not directly add it to the window object. Explanation *. MyLocalVariable is declared inside the myfunc function using var. Therefore, it is scoped to that function. Trying to access window.myLocalVariable from outside the function would result in undefined because myLocalVariable is not a property of the window object. The variable is only accessible within the function's scope. Example 4, accidental global variables, the danger of omitting var, let, or const. If you assign a value to a variable without declaring it using var, let, or const inside a function, and if strict mode isn't enabled, JavaScript, in its sloppy mode, will create it as a global variable, a property of window. This is generally considered bad practice and can lead to unexpected behavior. Explanation *. Inside accidental global, my accidental global is assigned a value without using var, let, or const. JavaScript, finding no declaration in the current scope, looks up the scope chain. Finding no such variable, and in the absence of strict mode, it creates my accidental global in the global scope, as a property of window. This can lead to naming conflicts and unexpected side effects, especially in large projects. Example 5, using let and const in the global scope. Let and const, introduced in ES6, behave differently in the global scope. While they still create global variables, they are not directly added as properties of the window object. This is a significant difference. Explanation asterisk. My global let and my global const are declared in the global scope using let and const, respectively. Although they are accessible globally, they are not directly added as properties of the window object. This helps to prevent accidental overwriting of existing window properties and provides a cleaner separation. They exist in a separate script environment record. They are global in the sense that they are accessible from anywhere in your script that isn't shadowed by a variable with the same name declared in a narrower scope. Example 6, this in the global scope. In the global scope, outside any function, the this keyword refers to the window object, in browsers, or the global object in node.js. Why does this matter? Implications and considerations. 1. Naming conflicts asterisk. If you accidentally create global variables using var, or even worse, without var, let, or const, and they have the same name as existing properties of the window object, example unload, name, location, you can overwrite those properties and break the functionality of your browser or application. 2. Code clarity and maintainability asterisk. Relying heavily on global variables makes your code harder to understand, debug, and maintain. It introduces dependencies between different parts of your code base, making it difficult to reason about the behavior of individual functions. 3. Modularity and encapsulation asterisk. Global variables make it harder to create modular and encapsulated code. Modules should ideally expose a well-defined API and minimize their reliance on the global scope. 4. JavaScript libraries and frameworks asterisk. JavaScript libraries and frameworks often create their own namespaces, objects, in the global scope to avoid naming conflicts and provide a structure for their code. 5. Strict mode, use strict. Strict mode enforces stricter parsing and error handling in JavaScript. One of its benefits is that it prevents you from accidentally creating global variables by throwing an error if you try to assign to an undeclared variable. Always use strict mode. Best practices. 1. Use let and const. Modern JavaScript prefer let and const over var whenever possible. They provide block scoping, which leads to more predictable and maintainable code. They also avoid directly polluting the window object. 2. Avoid global variables, minimize the use of global variables. Encapsulate your code within functions, modules, or classes to create isolated scopes and prevent naming conflicts. 3. Use modules. Modern JavaScript use ES modules, using import and export, or common JS modules, in node.js using require and module.exports, to organize your code into reusable components. Modules have their own private scope, which reduces the risk of global variable pollution. 4. Use namespaces. If globals are necessary, if you absolutely need to create global variables, example for library initialization, create a single global object, your namespace, and attach your variables as properties of that object. This helps to avoid conflicts with other libraries. 5. Use immediately invoked function expressions, IIFEs. Older approach IIFEs are a pattern used to create a private scope. They were more common before the widespread adoption of ES modules. 6. Always use strict mode asterisk. Add use strict at the beginning of your JavaScript files or functions to enable strict mode and prevent common errors, including the accidental creation of global variables. 7. Code linters * use code linters like ESLint or JSHint to automatically detect and report potential issues in your code, including the use of undeclared variables and other bad practices. In summary, understanding the relationship between var and the window object is essential for writing clean, maintainable, and robust JavaScript code. By following best practices, minimizing the use of global variables, and embracing modern JavaScript features like let, const, and modules, you can avoid the pitfalls associated with global scope pollution and build more reliable and scalable applications. Remember to always use strict mode, use strict, to catch accidental global variable creations and enforce better coding practices.